Welcome to another Sidewalk Conversation. My name is Pete Van Ward, and I am your host today. And we are in for a very interesting conversation. If you've been paying attention to what's happening in the culture, you're quite aware that we live in a day where there's a lot of political infighting. In fact, if you just turn on social media or the news, or even in conversations with your friends, you realize that this is a very tender and volatile issue. In my own experience, I've been trying to say to people, hey, can we navigate this conversation maybe like we do others, where we can be respectful of a person, even if they share different opinions about political realities or political parties or even candidates. There has to be a way, particularly for believers, to have conversations about those matters in a way that allows us to be, again, respectful of another person, even if they share different points of view. And I am excited today because I have an opportunity to talk to somebody who's actually in the arena, who has to navigate that as part of their reality every single day. So we are talking to the mayor of Liberty Hill, and she was obviously elected by a constituency, but she also has to represent the entire community. So I'm looking forward to being able to talk to her about how she navigates those complexities and how her faith fits into all of that as well. So I'm excited about your joining us, and in a moment we'll introduce you to our guest. I first of all want to say thank you to our sponsor today. We are being sponsored in this episode by Shoreline Church. That happens to be the church that I attend, and our guest also attends that church. And if you are in the Austin area and you're looking for a congregation that is both very diverse but biblically oriented, you'll find a lot of that at Shoreline Church here in Austin. They also have an online campus, so if you are looking for something in that genre, they also have that available at shoreline.org. All right, now let me introduce you to our guest, Crystal. That was a terrible.
You've been called lots more than just Crystal. Go ahead.
I got to tell the story. I go way back with Crystal, but I knew her last name in a little different way. Yeah. So she was texting me about this, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Could you tell me how I know you?
I do remember that. I was thinking, what's going on?
Pete, come on.
I was.
Anyway, Crystal, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad that you are here.
Thank you for having me.
I know you have very busy schedules, so that you would take some time to be with us. It's just so cool. So thank you.
Excited to be here.
All right. Well, let's just start off kind of getting introduced to you in your life and kind of how you grew up. So tell us a little bit, like, are you a Texas girl? Like, have you been here your whole life?
I am a Texas girl. I was born in Austin, and I was raised in Leander, graduated Leander High School, and then raised my kids in Liberty Hill. So I've seen the area grow. And
oh, man.
But I've never really moved out. I lived in Mexico for 1 year for missions work. But other than that, Texas has been home to me. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, tell me some of your key influences. Like, how did you grow up? What were some of like your parents and all that?
Yeah. I grew up, in a very small community. So my father gave his heart to the Lord at the age when I was 4. He had been a drug addict, Vietnam vet, nightmares, and he gave his heart to the Lord and completely changed his life. Wow. And so I was I'm very thankful I was raised in a community where we all kind of grew together of, I don't know, how to love one another, how to serve. And I really grew with a strong sense of servitude, especially to my community, and a sense of impact from my life that God had given me. Yeah. Became a pastor's kid at age of 16. That was a lot of fun. But yeah.
I'm sure that was a lot of fun.
And, but I always valued mentorship. And so I've had lots of mentors in my life, and got married early and had 3 beautiful kids, and it's part of life, right? That we
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
we all kind of experience these things. So I've
Okay.
been very privileged and very thankful to have a foundation, what I would say is being raised in a Christian community or with my parents.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfection, but I did learn
Yeah.
how to have grace and grit at the same time.
Love
So.
that. I met your dad.
Oh yeah.
I need to pause because I don't think Crystal will forgive me if I don't say something that you should probably fix your hair.
Oh.
It's a little puffy.
It's
Or
a
poofy on the sides.
Thank you.
And I didn't want to get in trouble for that.
No, you're not getting in trouble. No, I appreciate you.
I
Thank
don't
you.
want you to watch
Is
it
it?
back and be like, why nobody?
Thank you. Is it still poofy? Because I can't see it. Okay, good. Thank you for telling me.
We should get
I
a
actually
camera.
like
We should
you
get a
now.
mirror in here. I keep saying that.
We should.
All right.
Okay. Wherever you want to pick up from.
Okay.
You really stopped us for that one reason.
Well, yeah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you.
He just got some points.
Yeah, he
didn't
did. He did.
Oh, and Pete, while we're doing this, can you adjust your mic a bit and just point it towards your mouth a little bit?
Yeah.
Those 2 reasons.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Where's that?
So you grew up around. In fact, it was interesting you mentioned that because I met your dad.
Uh-huh.
I think I took him to lunch, or he took me to lunch
Yeah.
sometime, and heard his story.
Yeah.
What a great story.
Yeah, he does.
Man.
He has a story of redemption, and I think
Yeah.
that's what, and that was as what was so beautiful being raised is by him and my mom was that whenever they became pastors and even before that, he had a heart to help people find redemption in their life, and that's a beautiful thing because we all need it at some
Yeah.
point.
Well, and especially because that's part of his story.
Absolutely.
Little fellow black sheep.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's now dive into what you do now in your career as a politician.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you always had interest in? Like, did you imagine yourself doing that from a young age?
No. I never, as a kid, ever thought I'd ever be a mayor. Like, it wasn't one of the things that I said, I want to be a mayor one day. Actually, I wanted to be a singer my whole life. Yeah, it was never politics. I did my normal, duty of voting and staying on top of things, but never a politician did I ever think I'd be in this position. So
So how did
Yeah.
that stir?
that's usually the next question people ask. What's interesting is because I've been in the community for such a long time, I have lots of really great roots. People know who I am. And,
Yeah.
they came to me. I had a couple of people just come and ask if I would run for city council. And that's how it started. They felt like there needed to be a change in local government and someone to listen to the people and a voice for them. And it was interesting because I asked my dad, I went to him because he had served on city council many years prior. And so I was like, Father, why would they ask me? I don't have a degree. I have no background in it. And he said something very important to me that I think everyone should know this is that a politician doesn't come just because of like this knowing of, I know how to, write policy and what to do with it. A politician should be really a servant at heart and a voice for the people that elected them, but then also a voice for everyone.
Yeah.
Even those that
We're going to
didn't.
get into that.
Yes, we will. So, but he said it's really the character and ethics. Like, and you're a woman of those two things. The rest you can learn.
Yeah.
Those are things that you can teach.
That's a great
You can't
point.
teach people character. That's something that they have to live by in their foundation of who they are. So I said, okay. So it was a simple yes, I'll run. Got elected, and then I'm like, okay, here we go. And God's been through that whole journey with me, constantly just praying and saying, okay, what's the next step? Because I had no clue. And then serving as city council, our former mayor was she's just having some health issues, and she needed to possibly quit her term a year early. And so she asked if I would run in her and finish out her 1-year term. So I said, yes, I'll do that. Got elected there. And then a year later, the community wanted me to stay. And really, it's me asking the community, if you think I'm doing a good job and you want me to be here, then I'll stay and continue to serve this community. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to ask 2 kind of follow-up questions related to that. So what have you loved about the role, and what has been maybe more difficult, not as fun?
It's never a difficult moment.
Right.
Well, let's start with the thing that I love. I love serving the people. I love the people that are in our community. I love the idea of being able to be their voice and take their vision and try to implement something that's going to last forever in Liberty Hill as far as sustainability and the future for their kids, being raised in parks and all the things that even I used to enjoy, like the skies and things of that sort. So that's my favorite part, is the people. The parts that tend to be a little challenging is, and I don't know why it is with politics, but in politics it's interesting because you can it's almost like people put you at a different level. I'm human just like everyone else. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes it can be challenging when people make assumptions and without coming and asking questions to seek to understand.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that, as an elected official, you see behind the scenes, or you see a lot of things in the future that could come your way, especially with what other cities are doing that could impact us.
Yeah.
And so you have to make very difficult decisions that may not make sense right now, but it will in 5 years, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And so sometimes the challenge can be having grace in those moments when you might be some people attacked or judged in a way that you're like, wait, no, that's not me,
right.
But having grace, because really it comes from a place that they just don't understand. There's just a lack of understanding. So then it comes to, well, how do we educate? How can we do better?
Awesome.
Yeah.
So when you think about, like, you alluded to it earlier, of like I have a constituency that I am trying to appeal to because they got me elected, but then you also have the community as a whole, which some people may not have been excited about you being elected. Yeah. How do you both stay faithful to your constituency and sensitive to the needs of the community? How do you navigate? Do you have a grid that you think through, or?
Well, there's no grid. I'll say that for sure. I'm definitely not data driven, but that's not my strength. But what I always try to remind myself, it is the voice of all people. So whether they elected me or not, it still matters and it still counts because the decisions that we make impact them. And I never get afraid or scared of an idea that's different than mine. Yeah. I actually welcome it. Like, I love people that have new ideas because I think it challenges the overall system in a sense of how can we do better?
Yeah,
maybe there is a way we don't know. But what I always try to do is always we have 2 ears, so always listen more than I am to speak. Mm-hmm. And then really take in consideration what the concerns are. Yeah. And if we can't specifically address it, how in other ways might we be able to, to support or address it? So, yeah.
And so when you have a difference of opinion with somebody that wasn't necessarily excited about seeing you get elected, what are some of the things that you do to try and navigate that sensitive conversation? Are there, again, some things that you think about or some tactics that you use?
Well, absolutely. And I have a scenario for you, a recent one that I can share with you.
Yes.
So we just became a dark sky community. And when we were brought this to the attention of, my constituents and that we were going to do this in our community, there was some fear around that because what was going to happen is that certain businesses were going to have certain types of light bulbs and or turn their lights off between certain hours of the evening. And there were just going to be basically not as much freedom. Okay. And with that came some, concerns that were being raised. Sure. Small business owners, and we completely understand, definitely don't want to add any more, pressure on them for sure. So for us, what we ended up doing is, do we want dark skies? Do we want to be able to see the stars at night? Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. We're never going to be, crazy, but at the same time, having too many lights or, stores that keep their lights open all night long, is that really necessary? Maybe not.
Yeah.
So then it was, then we need to go in and have conversations with these small business owners and start seeing how can we still accomplish what we want, but then also do it in a way that they don't feel like there's this heavy-handed government. That is one thing that I ran on. I'm fine with some policies, but I'm not going to create a policy just because I'm bored or just because 2 people want it and it's an agenda. Yeah. It's got to be good for the whole. And if it's not, then we got to look at that and see if it's really useful. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah. Love that. So. All right. So I'm
I said in my intro that one of the things that's really worrisome to me is the way in which, even among believers, it seems that there's this animosity. I mean, it's just like, I read a quote the other day that I thought was really interesting. We used to say you can't marry somebody from a different ethnicity, or you can't marry somebody from a different faith. Now it's like you can't marry somebody from a different political party.
Yeah.
It's like that has become the dividing line.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's so sad that we can't have conversation around topics that are, they're contentious and people have different opinions about it without the name calling. Like, can't we do this? So now you're a person in that arena, so I'm guessing you're getting it from both sides at some level. And I'm curious what you would say as like speaking to like the community at large, or even to your friends. Like, here are some things that I think might be helpful for us to consider in the midst of having this conversation. Here are some things that I think are important because, and I love what you said earlier, like, you're just a human like everybody else. You got feelings, you make mistakes. Like, come on, give us a break, you know? So what are some of the things that you would suggest would be good for that kind of conversation?
Well, I do, what I'm about to say may not be really popular, but I told you I was going to be very transparent. I'm not a politician in the sense that am I in a party? Technically, yes. But I think that for some reason on both parties, or all sides, I've been pulled out on both ends to say, why are you going that way or why are you going this way? When it comes to the way that I vote based off my principles and based off of how my constituents and I, what their voice is. Whenever we come to a table and we talk about things that are very controversial, for whatever reason now, I don't remember it being this way back like in the 80s and 90s even.
Yeah.
But now it's almost like we take it as a personal attack. We get super offended, defensive immediately, instead of seeking to understand. And when we understand where someone's coming from and why they believe or why they're thinking the way that they are, that opens up a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we probably all want the same thing.
So true.
We all want the same thing. But because we automatically come at it with an attack or a defense, we really close that door of being open-minded and really having conversation. I miss the days, and I believe it's Ben Carson that had talked about this, which was, he was saying how we've lost the art of disagreeing, but agreeing to disagree and still respecting each other when we're, at church or when we're out at the, local restaurant, and we see each other, still being respectful and saying, hey, how are the kids? How's life?
Right.
That we've completely aligned that, well, if you're with that party, you're against me.
Right.
And it's, that the only thing that's going to change is each of us individually.
Yeah.
It's going to be the people. And it's one thing that it kind of goes in line with what I ran on with our community whenever, we're the fastest growing community in Williamson County still. We have been for the last 3 years. And there are some people who have been there for a long time. And of course, with growth comes, some obstacles, but also fears of, we didn't move here to be into a big city, and what's going to happen with this small knit community.
Yeah.
And one thing that I kept trying to remind people, what keeps a community the way that it is its people. At the end of the day.
Right.
So if we're at a local restaurant, we see a new face or see a new family, but yet our kids may go to the same school, why not say, hey, welcome, you seem like you're new, and just have those conversations, and I think that's getting lost in general, the human aspect of who we are, that we're much more than our political beliefs.
Yes. Amen.
Like if we can just meet each other there of being human again, I think we'll be able to see our world change a lot,
Yeah.
in a lot bigger way.
So you're also a person of faith, and you take your faith seriously. And I'm always, one of the questions I love answering with my fellow brothers and sisters in the Lord is, like, how does your faith influence what you do? Like, are there things that you can kind of point to, either from a policy perspective or even just like personally how you approach your work, that you could say is connected to your faith and how you want to express it?
Yeah. My faith is at the foundation of all of this. It is difficult. It's challenging for sure to be in a position where you're making very difficult decisions and heavy decisions that can impact a whole community. And so with that, I don't take it lightly. And a lot of things I take to prayer. I seek wise counsel because I'm definitely not someone who thinks I'm going to know it all. So I think that's also very important in my role. When I think about scripture, you know, kings, they had prophets, you know, who would, you know, give them insight before they went into battle. And sometimes I felt like God was saying, like, you need your mentors around you because they may be able to see things or know things that you don't know or give you a connection that you need. It's going to open up, you know, the doors. So, so it's been very impactful to me. And of course, also there's a lot of challenges that can come. And at times when you're in servitude like this and you give, you can get really depleted real fast. And I saw that even with my father as a pastor, you know, when you're constantly in a give state, and you probably know this, you know, as a pastor. So when you're constantly in the give state, it's got to be Christ that renews your soul and your spirit. And I don't start a day without spending that quality time with him, reading and just in a quiet moment. Our lives are so busy. There's so much noise. God's really put me in a place of just silence, solitude, just even if it's for 15 minutes. And that's been really beneficial to me as far as being able to handle the things that have come our way. And then also, how do we make the best decisions? And also bridging. I mean, of course, there's going to be disagreements. So how do you do that? How do you bring people together when there's a disagreement? And I couldn't imagine doing it without the insight of the Holy Spirit. And, and you know, Scripture, there's so many things in Scripture that give us just key things to live by in everyday life. And they're simple. You know, they're not overcomplicated. We complicate it, you know, but they're very simple to do. They're difficult because whenever it says forgive those that do, you know, harm against you, that can be challenging, you know. What does that look like? You know, living that every day, picking up my cross and saying, okay, today I choose to forgive. So, you know, it does. It keeps me grounded in why I do what I do, and also to realize that I can't do this alone.
Love that. Is there like a specific example of something that you could say I was facing, and I know you probably have some issues related to, like, I can't be totally upfront or confidential stuff. But can you point to something where you were facing a decision and there was a way in which your faith had a specific application?
Many. I'm trying to think of which one. Without getting too specific, you know, yes, there was a season where there were some challenges and there were some hard decisions that need to be made, and my human self did not want to take a road that basically I felt my spirit was saying, you know, and it did require an open mind, an open heart, again, forgiveness, and another level of trust, you know, and but it wasn't without ignorance or, you know, being naive about a situation. It was more of obedience to the Lord and him saying, this is what you need to do if you want to be an effective leader for your town. And with every little step and every day, it was a decision to say and bring God into the daily activities that I was doing and say, okay, how far do I trust? How far do I lean in? And allowing him to guide me and be in true surrender. And it wasn't overnight. You know, sometimes I think, I know for me, I can tend to get impatient. I'm doing it. Lord, you know, and it's been 2 months and I'm not seeing the fruit from my labor. And it took probably, I would say, a good 5 to 6 months before the weight sometimes that we feel of those things that can come against us when we feel it may be unjust is how do we still lead? How do we still serve? And being able to surrender that to the Lord completely. And whenever it's time, that weight just slides right off and then it's smooth sailing, you know, and you see it. You know, you see the fruit from just really surrender. So
I love that. What you're sharing reminds me that so often, and this can be like in personal decisions as well as decisions that we make in our career, is that we know there's something we need to do, and all the things that could come from that decision, like we anticipate, well, it could lead to this or it could lead to that, or it will offend this person, or that's going to be really hard. We have this big, like, dark cloud in our mind about how bad this could go. And then it seems as if when we go ahead and take the first step, it's like, okay, it's hard, but it's not as bad as
Yep.
I had imagined. And
Yep.
then, with every step, it's more like there's strength that comes along the way. There's perspective that you gain. And then I think, maybe especially in a role like what you're playing, is that people are inspired by courage. Like when they see you doing something that they know is hard, and they see you taking those courageous steps, it's like, all right, I may not agree with everything that she's doing, but I respect the courage.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up because we did have a situation and that came up with. So we're building, and we've made a huge decision right now to build an advanced water treatment facility. And with that came some concerns from some constituents. And so when we had our big town hall to bring anybody who had questions about it, we're going to come here, we're going to answer. We had our engineers fly in. Like, this was the moment to get sciencey, I'm not their science person, but they are, and they can answer those questions. Well, at the end of that meeting, before we had split off and opened up to the outdoors where they can go ask, we had some people there in the audience that were challenging and just did not understand. But instead of shying away or shutting them down, it was, let's talk about this, but let's first go get our questions answered. And then if you still have those same questions, then let's meet up. And sure enough, after they still had the same ones, and they talked to everybody there. And although it started off by being in a place of really protecting, they were trying to protect, where they're like, wait, what are you doing? It ended in a way that they understood that as leaders of the city, we are making the best decision. And we know it's not easy, and we know it's going to have some challenges along the way, but we're here and we're going to be transparent and we're going to involve the community, and we can only do this together.
Yeah.
So, but for the future of Liberty Hill, they understood that Liberty Hill was in good hands with its leadership. And that was because myself and the team that was there, we led in a way that didn't, shut their questions
awesome.
down, shy away from it, go hide anywhere.
Yeah.
It was, okay, let's talk.
Let's go. Yeah.
And that's fine, and let's be straightforward,
Yeah, because if it really is best for the community, even if people have concerns going in, if you've done your due diligence and you have the right people, leading the project, then it becomes obvious to people, like, okay, we don't have anything to be afraid of. Like, we're trying to do what's best for the community. If you have a question, go ahead and ask it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, I want to ask a little more personal question, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So you have, a lot of responsibilities, and you kind of touched on it already, but I want to unpack that a little bit. And that is so you have a lot of this responsibility. You're a very busy person. You want to, stay faithful to your commitments and your family and all of that. How do you balance it all? Like, what are some of the things that you have as non-negotiable practices that help keep you even-keeled?
Well, that's always been kind of the question for me, for sure, because I do have a full-time job and, and then also the mayor role. But the things that are non-negotiables for me are definitely every morning, my morning time with the Lord. That's a non-negotiable. I have a very close circle of friends that I stay in the loop with. I feel like that feeds my soul, and we challenge each other.
Yeah.
And they hold me accountable. It's all the things. But then also my family time, with my parents and my kids. But for me, what's interesting about this stage of my life is when I said yes to, serving, and yes to the Lord and doing this, I didn't realize that, I actually have time, because my kids are all grown. They're out of the house. They're, doing their own thing, and so really it's a season of my life where I've got the time. There's 24 hours in a day, and I pride myself on managing my time really well. I do have to schedule in some rest time, because I can become what's called the workaholic, where I'm just constantly on. But overall, the season of my life, I've been able to learn how to balance to where I can do both. Because I don't really have, I'm empty nester, I guess you could say. So it's like my community is my family right now too. So taking care of that.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
There is some reciprocity, right? When you're doing a good in your community does good for you.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, last question. What do you see for your future? Where are you headed? Like, you're the mayor now, and what do you see as your future?
Well, I just got reelected in May, so I've got another, I've got 3 years total with that. But I don't know what's, as far as the politics, what that future holds. I do know that my heart is servitude. It's in building teams. I'm so, I love doing that. So what I've learned in my capacity as a politician and in the political arena, if I can take that and have another impact somewhere else. I'm really just open to whatever lies ahead, and just focused right now on infrastructure and how to put a foundation in this city right now that is going to last and build something great for the next 20 to 50 years. So, awesome. And whatever happens after that, who knows? I'll probably just say yes to it. And keep saying yes.
Any ideas? Break some news here?
I do have some ideas in my head. I'm a big dreamer, but nothing that has come to fruition yet.
Okay.
And mainly just because of bandwidth, because of time.
Yeah.
But I see that that's going to open up in the near future, and so
All right.
Who knows?
Well, maybe we'll have to have you back when
Maybe
some of those
so.
things. Well, it's been so good to have this conversation, Crystal. Thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
for having
us,
me.
and loved your answers. And I make this matter of Lord, bring us together, help us to figure this out. It's a matter of daily prayer, and I pray for you in your role. And now that people know a little bit about your story, maybe there'll be some more prayer warriors on your side as well.
I'm not going to say no to more prayer warriors.
And thank you for joining us. We're so grateful that you took some time to be part of this conversation. And please join us next week as we have another Sidewalk Conversation.